Recording in progress.
All right, we see more people are logging in. So while we go ahead and start with introductory remarks, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Welcome to this virtual event in partnership with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. My name is Jimena Villaseñor, Policy Advisor at the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I will be moderating today's conversation. One of our priorities at the Chamber is to support policies and initiatives that foster innovation and excellence in education, aiming to make San Diego the best place to live and work. Skill-based education is a critical piece of developing today's and tomorrow's workforce. However, many high school students graduate without personal finance education or just the fundamental business knowledge to prepare them to live on their own, or make informed decisions about their future and even start their business. In fact, millions of jobs remain unfulfilled because candidates lack the essential skills. And to address the needs of today's economy, College Board has developed a new course, Advanced Placement Career Kickstart, or APCK for short. The title continues with business principles / personal finance, and it's a groundbreaking program designed to provide students with real world foundation in business and personal finance education. So I'm excited to welcome Claire Berstrand, who will share more about this initiative. And Claire serves as the Executive Director of Career Strategies and Employer Partnerships at the College Board, leading efforts to develop industry and employer partnerships that align education with workforce needs. In over 4 decades, she has worked to bridge education and career with a focus on leveraging policy, practice, and technology to expand economic mobility for young adults. So before we begin and hand it over to Claire, just a couple housekeeping instructions. I want to ask all attendees to please feel free to type your questions, comments in the Q&A box. We will definitely get to them right after we hear from Claire. But overall, I'm excited to hear more about this course that will help students make informed choices and enter the workforce with confidence. So Claire, please take it away.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining today. Hopefully I'm not getting any echo. Today we are talking about the AP Kickstart program. We're going to be talking about our business and personal finance course, as well as a cybersecurity course as well. So you'll get a both and. I'm really excited about our partnership with the U.S. Chamber, as well as our partnership with the San Diego Chamber. So in case you aren't familiar with the College Board, we are a nonprofit membership organization, and we serve 7 million students annually. We have our SAT suite, which is a set of assessments, our advanced placement courses, which are college level courses in high school, Big Future, which is a college and career navigation platform, and CLEP and AccuPlacer, which are assessments for adult learners. So just to understand better the scale of College Board, we are in 90% of high schools. About 90% of high schools have AP courses in them. We have 6,000 education partners, K-12 and higher ed. And also we save young people $3 billion in tuition savings through our advanced placement course. So as I mentioned, we serve 7 million students. We serve a lot of teachers, and we're constantly talking to students and teachers, constantly surveying them. In the past few years, we've seen a shift in students, and what they're expecting from their high school experience. We found that many are not feeling as challenged by their coursework. They want their coursework to feel more relevant. And when we ask students, well, how would we do that? How would we better serve you in the classroom? We heard from students that they're looking for more applied learning, as well as better and deeper connections to career. How will what I'm doing in my classroom today in high school help me consider all of my choices in my, post-secondary or career pathway? And how can I feel that my work in the classroom is more relevant? We also looked at the disconnect between education and employability. Now, we know for a long time that, of course, K-12 higher ed isn't always going to be in lockstep with industry, but that's becoming more and more important that it actually is in lockstep. Because of the rapidly changing labor market, we want to make sure students have the skills they need to succeed. And then on the employer side of things, companies are spending more on hiring, learning and development, and not necessarily seeing a lot in return. And finally, when we think about all of the credentials that are in the market, I think there are about 1 million credentials someone can have. Employers can't really make heads or tails. They have someone who gives them a resume, self-reported. There are not a lot of ways that we have credentials that you can figure out, okay, what is the quality of that credential? Is it meaningful? Is it going to stack? Is it going to help someone advance? So these are the disconnects now between education and employability. So in listening to his students and listening to our employer partners, as well as our education partners, we developed Advanced Placement Career Kickstart. These are a new set of courses that are anchored in our advanced placement principles, which I'll talk about in a few seconds, and also career connected, making sure students have as many choices as possible as they exit high school and go into post-secondary and into their lives. So this section of our presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about our career-focused AP courses and how we design them. So this advanced placement course offers 3 things to young people: high school credit, college credit, and an industry recognized credential, or an IRC, sometimes called employer endorsed credentials. Essentially, we want to make sure students are set up for success, especially in courses that are giving them both professional and technical skills. The courses we're starting out in is business with personal finance, so AP Career Kickstart, business personal finance, and also AP Career Kickstart, cybersecurity, and networking, which are 2 separate courses. And I'll talk a little bit about those in detail later in the presentation. We designed these courses based on what we heard from students, as well as from educators and employers. So the courses look a little bit different than our other advanced placement courses. They have applied learning in them, so focused on problem solving and technical and professional skills. Career connections. We want to make sure that the courses are relevant to workforce needs, are aligned with industry recognized credentials, and also embed work-based learning. We've also designed these to be for all students, all educators, all schools. There are no prerequisites. We want to make sure we're blurring the lines between AP and career technical education. Students should feel comfortable in these courses. They should feel like they're relevant and connected to what they're going to do next. And they're really for all students. So we designed these intentionally by listening to students, but also being very aware of what employers need as well. So I think we have about 38 advanced placement courses. Advanced placement has been in the field for about 70 years. So we have a bit of a sense of what works. And we want to make sure that we design these courses to include what works. So that's robust teacher training, dedicated educator communities, free student resources, high quality assessments, and the broadest national network of college credit policies. So Career Kickstart is designed differently, but it also, again, is anchored in advanced placement and all the things that the course does that are high quality and we know works. So as we design these, we again use what we do in advanced placement, which is pull in high school educators and leaders as advisors, pull in a higher education as advisors. But what was different about our Career Kickstart courses is that we include industry advisors as well as CTE leaders. We invited CTE state leaders to make sure we were designing these courses correctly. We are new to CTE, we are new to career connected education, so we wanted to make sure we had experts at the table, so we were providing students with the highest quality career connected learning as we could. We also took this as an opportunity to think about how to create a credential that is high quality, that meets a high school student where they are and moves them forward. So we know currently a lot of industry recognized credentials in high school are not necessarily setting students up for success. We want to make sure we are partnering with the right folks at the state level, at the local level, with employers, with educators, to create credentials that matter in the labor market for students, are stackable, are portable, and can help them advance. So in this section of the presentation, I'm going to talk more about business in detail and a little bit about what is in the course and how it is designed. So with AP Business with Personal Finance, this is a terrific course that has both kind of the core principles of business, but also personal finance component. So it has the project-based learning component, applied learning. Students develop their own entrepreneurial business canvas project. So we know a lot of students want to think of themselves as entrepreneurs, are interested in that. So that's obviously embedded into this course. They also practice advising on financial decisions like loans, home ownership, and retirement planning. That's the personal finance piece of it. And it's also aligned with the national standards for personal finance education. The core principles of business are also added: marketing, business finance and accounting, management and strategy, and competition and new ideas. So it is similar to a college course, right? So AP courses are college level courses in high school, but we also have that personal finance piece in the course as well. So the AP Business and Personal Finance course is a year-long course. So as you'll see in these 4 units, there are our core business principles that students are going to be learning, but also integrated into these units is the personal finance piece, the building of financial literacy, which is, again, interestingly, when we talk to employers about this course, they are most excited about the financial literacy aspect of this course. We give them our content framework, all 80 to 100 pages of it. They go through it, love it, and the financial literacy piece is what they know is the most important to make sure that their workers are going to be set up for success. So as we said, students are building these skills. We want to build both professional skills, technical skills, and durable skills, the name of the game. So essentially, we integrated these key business skills into the course. Concept application, which again is that applied learning. How do you transfer your learning in different contexts and scenarios? Entrepreneurship, decision-making, communication, and collaboration are all integrated into the course. For cybersecurity and networking, I'll talk a little bit about this. These are courses as well that are going to be launched. The cybersecurity course will be launched with business in fall 2026-27. Networking will be launched nationally in 27-28. So APCK Cyber Pathways, they're 2 different courses. So they're a year each. And they basically help students build skills within cybersecurity and networking. They can be sequenced together or taken separately. So essentially, we've aligned these with the NICE framework. It's definitely industry aligned and gives students the technical and professional and durable skills that employers are looking for. And as I mentioned, we want to make sure all of these courses are career connected. And a lot of these courses, or the courses we're building with business and cybersecurity, they are integrating career exploration and career awareness opportunities. So when students build these technical skills, they also learn about where they might use those skills. And there are built real world scenarios into the course. So for example, students may not know that you could be a network security engineer in a local hospital, or a network technician in a naval submarine, or you could work in a large farm and help them secure all of their equipment. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, College Board is committed to making sure that our IRCs are high quality. For courses like cybersecurity and networking, we align our credentials to CompTIA and Cisco. There's about 92% alignment there. Again, we work closely with Cisco, closely with CompTIA to make sure we are building the skills that the industry is looking for. But also students are building confidence with our assessments. In high school and in these courses, the assessments are designed to mirror industry assessments. So usually in high school, if students jump right to a Cisco assessment, right to a CompTIA assessment, they don't do as well if you're looking at the data. And we're building this credential to stack to these credentials and give students a stepping stone to these credentials that are really quite robust in use in the labor market today. So how can employers and chambers support Career Kickstart? Again, as I mentioned, we have great relationship with the US Chamber, the San Diego Chamber, and over 70 chambers across the country in 41 states have all supported the course and have all helped us make the course better. So in terms of industry partners and how we work with chambers or intermediaries and also our employers, they help us really think about the frameworks. They review the frameworks and advise us on updating frameworks. They help identify in-demand technical and professional skills, also connecting students to opportunity. In different ways that employers or chambers can get involved are providing a letter of support. So in every single state or states that have them, we're trying to get onto IRC lists. So an industry recognized credential, most states have a designated list where they approve these credentials. We want to make sure students have access to these courses and these credentials matter. A strong signal that is getting on these lists. We believe our courses provide a high quality experience and the skills students need. So we're collecting letters of support from chambers and employers to help us get onto those lists again, so more students can have access to these courses and to high quality credentials. We also are building out ways in which employers can add their own brand and story to these courses. We have case studies similar to a college course. Students, I think that we have about over 20 now case studies of companies and the problems and challenges companies have. They're written to be high school appropriate, and we are working now with companies who are interested in having case studies to build those out. Additionally, we are inviting employers to visit schools, build out virtual talent hubs. We have a lot we're planning with different employers, especially state-based or local employers. We also know that many districts and higher education partners have employer partners. So we want to make sure we're working within a local ecosystem to add value, that these courses are aligned with some of what the employers are looking for in that area. And finally, just elevating brand and voice. As I mentioned, we want to integrate career awareness and opportunities into the courses. And we can do those in a variety of ways. And this is a QR code that you can utilize, fill out an interest form to learn more and how to get involved. And we'd love to hear again from employers, chambers, K-12, higher ed, who are interested in learning more about our AP Career Kickstart courses and how to get involved. So at the end of the presentation, I'm happy to take any questions.
This is awesome, Claire. Thank you so much for sharing all that you have shared today. It's really eye-opening and really to the point on how chambers and business organizations can support. So that's something we really appreciate. In the meantime, while we get those questions flowing, I had a question myself, more along the lines of how the frameworks are built. You kind of shed light on it briefly, but how flexible are these AP courses regarding like updates, developments and innovations in different industries? That really came to mind when you shared about the cybersecurity and networking courses, considering these are industries that are ever evolving. So how does this protocol go on?
Well, we are now piloting the courses, so they're quite new. So the cybersecurity and networking course, we're piloting those. And the cadence for updating those, I would have to talk to our AP team about that. Happy to do that and get you that information. But we want to make sure that they are, responsive to the labor market. Now, the ways we do that is that we have something called Advanced Placement Classroom. So that classroom is teacher facing and student facing. The cool thing about that is that we have day in the life videos. We can add supplemental resources and materials. We can link out to things that are like quite new. And a lot of times teachers use that as a place to sort of jump as a jumping point, right? An educator might say, okay, well, I'm going to subscribe to Cyber Guild because I know that's a great place to get news articles on what's cutting edge. And especially employers, when they get more involved in visiting a school or doing a virtual job shadow day or having an interview with a class, really engaging employers to help connect the students' content to the real world. The update to the content framework, because the frameworks are connected to the assessment, we want to make sure we do that intentionally and deliberately, but then also responsive to the labor market. So I can, again, get more information on that, but that is our plan to make sure it is as aligned with the labor market as possible.
Awesome, thank you. We'll take note of that and definitely follow up with you to see more of how us as the chamber here in San Diego regionally could participate in that building. We do have a question in the chat from Miriam Mendoza. With growing interest in alternatives to traditional AP courses, how does this new program stand apart and ensure it equips all students, especially those who may not typically engage in AP, with the skills they need for future success?
Sure. I love this question. I think one of the things that we are committed to at the College Board is to make sure that we are working with more students, that more students have access to our courses. The reason why we created AP Career Kickstart is because we wanted to blur the lines between career technical education and advanced placement. So a student who may be in CTE may look at AP Business and Personal Finance and be like, oh, that looks great. I would love to take that course. A student in AP may look at a career kickstart course, same course, and say, but isn't that CTE? Well, that looks cool. I'll take that. And I think we want to make sure, again, all students feel welcome in the courses we develop and design. And then from a future success standpoint, we have over 400 letters of support from employers. We've been convening employers. We have a great relationship with the chamber as well as chambers from across the country. And you know this working at San Diego Chamber, that ability to tap into local experts who pull educators and higher ed and employers together and are doing reports on what the labor market looks like, et cetera. Those skills, that all is, and as a national organization, we can look at all of that, aggregate it, and integrate it into our courses. So not only are we committed to making sure our courses are expanded and are reaching more students, but we're committed to making sure that the skills that are built into those courses are what employers are looking for, both nationally, but also most importantly, locally.
That's great to hear, Claire. One more question from Nick. How is artificial intelligence currently being integrated into these courses, given that virtually every future career will require AI? To hear from you.
Yeah. So with AI, I can get more information on that. But from an AI perspective, we know it's important. We hear it from employers every single time we talk to them. So we are thinking about how do we design a modularized approach to integrating AI into our courses? What kind of tools should students be exposed to and using? College Board, we want to do things intentionally, deliberately, and with evidence. It's harder to do that when you have something like AI on the out and about, right? Like there's not a lot of evidence on how the efficacy around like helping students learn, the best way to use a tool. So we aren't necessarily going to wait and see because we don't believe we have the time to do that. But what we're doing is being very intentional and deliberate around how we think about AI is integrated into these courses and working hand in hand with educators, our higher ed advisors, as well as employers, most importantly, employers, to think about, okay, how is this actually being used? What is the difference between like the hype cycle and actually how it's going to show up in the workforce for these students 4 or 5 years from now? Now, we don't have a crystal ball, nobody does, but those are some of the conversations we're having internally, and how we sort of build that into our courses is an everyday conversation, and like every other educator in the country trying to figure out what's the best way forward, and how do we do that at scale, and with a high amount of efficacy, quality, and also equity and access to making sure everyone is AI literate. But what does that mean, et cetera, et cetera? So great question. I don't have the cleanest answer there, but we definitely are working on it.
Yeah, I think that's the gist for most AI policy and equity questions as further developments come up within that space. So I'm sure it's ever evolving and we'll hear more from it. Another question at the chat from Pana Hap. Can you elaborate on College Board strategies for helping districts or schools MWBL experiences? A standalone personal finance course will be required for graduation in the next few years. How is College Board addressing this?
Sure. Another great question. I will tackle the first one first. So in terms of strategies for helping districts and schools embed WBL experiences. So this is a big question for districts. Some districts do it well. They've got, work-based learning offices. Depends on how your district is. A lot of districts that are rural have less resources towards that, or they're just kind of struggling with how you engage employers. So we are looking at the kind of range of different districts and what the district's needs are. Also, really leveraging chambers, because chambers have those business partnerships. They have partnerships with K-12. Many times chambers are actually running work-based learning opportunities for schools. So what we're doing right now is really doing a scan of like what is happening, where can we add value to that ecosystem, and where are there gaps that we can close. So that's elaborating on sort of work-based learning. As you all probably know, there's a continuum of work-based learning from anywhere from job shadowing to internship to apprenticeship. We are building partnerships not only with the chambers but also kind of national local intermediaries who do that range of those opportunities. So we are kind of thinking about what is the best way that College Board can show up and add value, highlight the things that are best practice, and make sure that all students have access to high quality work-based learning. For the personal finance course, the course is aligned with the national standards for personal finance education. I can talk to my state leads in California to better understand the crosswalk with the graduation requirement in California. I'm fairly certain we would meet it, but I don't want to speak out of turn. But excellent question, and feel free to follow up with me about that.
Great. And then we have another question. So how will these courses translate into college credit specifically? Will they count as a business course at a university?
Yes, they can. It usually depends on the system. Sometimes we have credit policy agreements with a college. Sometimes we have credit policy agreements with a system. I believe in California you have it with a system. We're working on that, and I would assume it will show up in a business equivalent course for the business course in California. Can get a little bit more information on that if you would like to follow up.
Perfect. Just as you were sharing all this wonderful information, I was also thinking and sort of chatting offline with one of my colleagues on how there's so many other AP courses that one might not find as useful when it comes to entering the workforce officially. Maybe what are the efforts from College Board to really promote this internally within high schools? And the efficiency of the course and how much it will support students as they maybe transition into their first internship or start taking care of their personal finances, etc. So how will the difference between this AP course and other AP courses be highlighted?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a whole team that works on student engagement and marketing. I mean, I think first and foremost, we're working with schools to make sure it's fitting within the schedule. There are sections that we can make sure it works for the school. It's aligned with college credit. So we have kind of, cross our T's, dot our I's on some more of the boring stuff. But then it's really how do we get students engaged? How do they realize the value that this course can bring them? So we have a whole team that works on that with student engagement and marketing. And they do a great job. They're on all the socials. But so yeah, we're definitely connecting with students directly.
That's awesome. Maybe just for a final question, if there's no more takers over at our Q&A box for now, you mentioned a lot of opportunities for chambers and businesses, organizations and such to really be in touch with College Board and really provide that feedback and most up-to-date information about specific industries. What would you recommend us chambers or businesses to look up via your website or any other outreach strategies, particularly for us to support this wonderful initiative?
Sure, I can put the QR code up again. We can also follow up with the
Oh, perfect.
with my email address. I'll be sharing this deck with folks if they want to see it. So
Perfect.
yeah, this QR code
Yes,
can be
please share it
perfect for
with
the
me
interest
and then
forum.
I'll share it with attendees. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Claire. If we don't have any
Thank you.
further questions in the chat, we'll probably give some more, give a lot of the time back to many of our attendees today. Everything that you shared is really in line with what the Chamber advocates for when it comes to workforce development. But with that being said, we'd like to thank you again, Claire, and the U.S. Chamber, just for partnering with us in this important initiative. I know it's only the first step of many, but this presentation and additional resources will be available on demand on the Chamber's website, including this recording, in addition to the other resources we mentioned today, including workshops aimed in helping our local business community thrive. So finally, thank you to everyone who joined us. Your perspectives were vital to our efforts to ensure our region continues to be the best place to live and work. I'll make sure to share Claire's information to all of those who attended and follow up with any important details that we mentioned today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Claire. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Bye.